As a general rule of thumb, the more time you put into planning, the better your projects will be. Let's go ahead and look at how we can just, even in a couple minutes, create a bunch of extra value by planning our project in advance. I'm going to create a blank text file here, and I'm just going to jot down some thoughts. So our objective will be to create a phone book application which uses PHP and MySQL. So this is the application from our PHP chapter. So let's break that down into tasks. Task 1 is going to be, of course, to create a PHP script. Task 2 is going to be to create a database. And task 3, there we go, is going to be to create our application. We'll call it an application shell if you like. Okay, so we've got our tasks broken down, and we can go ahead and further break these down. So if we said subtasks, and then we'll say 1. Now we're going to put underneath the 1 heading A, B, and C. And we could say create a function to display items from database, or rather to echo in this case because this is our PHP script. And then the second thing in our PHP script was to create a function to add items to the database. And then our third task was to create a function to delete items from the database. Okay, as you can see, I've already abstracted that point, and I could of course go through here and do them all, and it would just take me a few minutes. The point is I know what I need to do before I even do it. And then what I would do is go into an application such as Adobe Photoshop and start a blank application, any size, and then just go ahead and start jotting it out. Let's say we would decide on the size of our application. Let's say it's going to be 630 by 425. I would go ahead and create an area like this by filling the outside with black, and just go ahead and start jotting stuff down in here. And for example, if we were having input fields or something, I would just go ahead and fill little rectangles here, and then just contract and delete them so that we've got this little sort of pseudo edit field. We can put in our information fields and move them around and do things like that. So this is a really quick, good way to visualize what your project is going to be doing, and if you do this, you'll save a lot of time, and of course you'll foresee a lot of the difficulties that you might be going through. Now if you're looking at the using Photoshop lesson in the same chapter, you'll see sort of an extension of this where we're using Photoshop to visualize our projects and create the elements. So basically you can go ahead and create a mock-up image like this of your application, and then once you're done, you can just come through here and turn these elements into something real. So for example, I'll go ahead and do this, and then I'll create another layer. Now let's say this was the mock-up of our application, and let's say this larger rectangle is going to be a screen. Well, now that I've got it marked out, it's a very easy process for me to just go ahead now and create a new layer, fill it up, and apply whatever style I want, and there we go. We're ready to go. It's done. I can just go ahead and take that same selection, crop to it, and export it here for use in AutoPlay Media Studio as a JPEG or a PNG or what have you. So that's the process of visualizing and how you can convert it into actual elements for your AutoPlay Media Studio projects. And of course the nice thing about this that we always do is once you've got your layout done, you can go ahead and export that as a PNG and use it as your background image in your AutoPlay Media Studio application during the design process as sort of a tracing template. Then you can lay your elements out, and then you can swap out for your actual background. At any rate, that's a little blurb on planning your projects, but I'm telling you, I cannot overemphasize the importance of planning enough. The more time you spend planning, the better your projects are going to be. So a lot of people like to just get in there and start building, and I encourage that too. That's a great way to innovate and learn. But if you're really serious about increasing the quality of your projects, then the first place to look at making improvements would be the planning process. I find that no matter how many projects I build, the more I plan, the better they get. So it stays consistent like that. It's something you never catch up with. Planning is always going to be the most important aspect of any multimedia project. Okay, so let's go on to the next video.